Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Agnelina and today I'm here with my new knitting podcast episode. I recently moved to a new country. I participate in test knits. I hope those topics sounds good to you. Grab your knitting, grab your ring, and let's spend some time together. I will start by giving a little bit context about me and my life. If you are not interested to that, skip ahead. I will add chapters so you will easily see where talk about knitting starts. But personally, I felt after watching a lot of what I made in a year videos that one of the most interesting was by Knitted by Whitney, Everything I Frogged and Finished in 2024 video, where she talked about her knitting journey through the year, explaining how she felt, why she knitted in one things or not knitting others. And that I felt really interesting and inspiring, and I feel like I'm here. I don't have real life knitting friends, so I'm here, to hear about people's lives, as well as knitting, because, it just creates for me more interesting content, so maybe it will does to you too. So let's talk about me. I'm Lithuanian. I studied my master's degree in Denmark, then I moved to Norway, Trondheim, where I lived for 4 years, and now recently, just this week, we came back to Denmark with my partner, fiancé, boyfriend. We should get married, so I wouldn't have to always think how to call him. So we moved back here. He finished his PhD in Norway. He still needs to defend and found a really good job opportunity here. And I agreed as a software engineer that I could potentially find a job here too. So we moved here. I was a little bit stressed about moving before finding a job and having like real tight timeline to find a new job. But I can tell you that in 3 months, after 50 applications, I got around 10 first interviews and 1 job offer in the end. So now I know, and I was not living in the country, so now I know that it is possible for me to find a job, and I was able to start working from March 1st. Okay, this is Saturday, so March 3rd, but I had to start working at least in mid-March or even April, so they agreed to start on mid-March. So I would have more time to settle down, I think to relax, to recharge myself, to have a few weeks, for hobbies and all of those things you usually don't find time. And I also have 1 extra week holidays. So the last week of my old place I took holidays, so it's almost 3 weeks, but the first week it didn't feel like holidays. It was moving, organizing, moving, just packing, unpacking, and it was really intense time. So now I think almost in the middle of my 3 weeks, and I finally feel like it is the second day that it feels like more like I actually on holidays. I actually have time to be a little bit maybe bored. I'm knitting a lot these days and I feel inspired to do a lot of things, so I'm really happy about this downtime. He is working for a huge corporation and they had some relocation package, so this is our temporary place. And this is the only nice corner because it's a really small studio apartment for 2 of us and it doesn't fit everything. So I have boxes, I have stuff around me, there's not so much place to organize. I am thinking about maybe here at first having like a small coffee table to have like more storage, because this is our bed and we don't have bedside tables. We have maybe this bedside shelf and on mine there's a lamp and almost nothing else fits and everything falls down. So yeah, I want a bit more things, but I have time to pick it up or even wait 3 months. It can go fast, but it might be more difficult when I start working and I cannot film this in the middle of the working day. Because he will be at home most likely all other times, so I'm a bit unsure how I will manage filming knitting podcast episodes, but we'll see. And I still have one video to edit. It was everything I wore in 2024 from my handmade wardrobe. I still think it is interesting video to see, you know, what in a year, you know, what was in my handmade wardrobe, you know, how much I wore, you know, to share some statistics, nice tables. But I was so overwhelmed with all the moving stuff, so I never edited it. And I feel like editing knitting podcasts took me less time, so I'm hopeful that it will be just high endorphins after this video. So I will edit and plan, schedule the next one. I want to try to be a bit more consistent, so maybe 3 or 4 weeks to upload a video, and see if people to join and watch it a little bit. I have some videos already filmed, but maybe I'm not the most consistent, maybe my accent is not good, or I just never had my, you know, growth spurt on the YouTube. So I'm really small channel, and it's okay. This is my hobby, and it doesn't have to become anything more. So yeah, hopefully it will turn out everything fine, and let's start talking about knitting. So I will start talking about what I'm wearing, and this is Birthday Bonbon Tea by Peacockyarn. I also bought the yarn from them for this test knit because I was seeing 2 gauges. One was on the designer's letter and another one was in the pattern, and I was unsure, you know, if I was getting the right stitch gauge, because it was the same but row gauge was quite different. 33 or 38 rows are quite different, and I decided that for the yoke, a circular yoke, you know, with this design, it is needed to be the correct row gauge. So I decided just to buy her yarn and, you know, get the right stitch count in the 10 centimeters. So the row gauge has to be the correct if you're using correct yarn. That was my idea. So this is Peacockyarn Crispy Singles in color Pumpkin Spice. I was, you know, guessing that this color should suit me. At least I'm not washed out with pastels, don't suit me at all. My mom says that one of the best colors for me is navy blue, which I guess would be deep winter color, but I was, you know, when I was trying to investigate, I felt like I'm more warm toned, and probably deep autumn should be my color scheme. So I felt like this should be more fun autumnish color, and my birthday is also in autumn, on October. So I felt like, you know, birthday bonbon tea, you know, in your birth month's colors, you know, golden leaves and etc. It should be nice. And it is so soft, so nice, but it is one of the most expensive knits ever yet, because it costed, even with knitter testers discount 20%, I think I paid around 86 euros. So yeah, this is for now the most expensive knitted item I ever knitted. But it is okay. It was interesting, my first ever test knit. I was expecting a little bit different test knit, but I guess every test knit is different, especially if you're, you know, doing for different designers. They have their own flows, and I felt like this was really small. Designer, I think by the time I applied, she was published only 1 knitted item, and I think when I was in the middle it was only 2 patterns released by her. I think that she doesn't have maybe the most following, because I feel like it was like Instagram post, hey, who wants to test knit this, and then you reply under it, and I think I replied maybe in the 3rd day that post was active, that yeah, I could, you know, finish it, you know, yeah, I would like to, you know, test it in size, I think in that size. Then she DM'd me with more questions, which I asked, and then she like approved that I sounded like, you know, good test knitter for her, and then she sent a pattern. And one of the things, since I think I only saw the yoke part mostly in her pictures, or like, you know, sideways, because it really has beautiful design, it's so interesting. so different. I wouldn't knit second one only because it is so like showstopper, and I don't need, you know, full wardrobe in like all colors and yarns of this one, because it's not that neutral. You can easily, you know, mix and match with everything else. I think like it's one of the kind. But I really happy to have this one, and it was such a fun experience to knit this, you know, knit those bubbles. And instructions for bubbles were really fun because they're also on links to the YouTube tutorials, so it was really easy. The pattern was quite well written, but I gave few feedbacks, and I think those were good feedbacks. She asked me, so I would put everything in one letter, all the findings I found, you know, what's wrong with her knitting pattern. And I found, I felt like I was a good test knitter because I managed, you know, to find and notice, you know, all these things which could make, you know, pattern really nice. But at the same time, I know that I take feedback really, for me it is difficult sometimes not to take it personally, like, no, don't feel attacked. And I felt like it was maybe difficult to see all the mistakes made on one page and like long letter. And I never got any feedback from her if she was, you know, happy with my feedback or not. So I felt like, so I don't know. But I think that I was a good test knitter. It was strange also because we didn't have like test knitters group chat, which I was expecting, because it's like knit along with, you know, there was no given deadline. She asked, you know, what would be my deadline, so I said that I could knit it in a month. So I started, you know, counting my deadline after the day I got the yarn. Because she was responsible of dyeing it and sending to me, and she was maybe too busy around Christmas time, so she sent me the yarn a week or more later than when we talked about it. So yeah, I finished, I think, on time. As I said, I didn't got any message from her back like, hey, or thank you for the feedback, or not so thank you for your feedback, you were too rude, or whatever. And I don't know if it was posted because on the all moving stuff was happening, I was door helm, so maybe I didn't join or checked Instagram for multiple days. We were staying because when we moved, we didn't got this place immediately. We stayed for a few days with the friend's house, and then, you know, you have to be around people and talk with people. And so I had less time to be on my phone, and there are so many things to do. So maybe, but I didn't saw, I don't think that it is live yet. I don't think that it was published pattern, and yeah. So I hope to get a few more pictures done and send it to her, because it is her yarn, her pattern, so I guess it's her, you know, creative baby. It is nice. I also, when I was applying, I said to her that if the pattern doesn't have a waist shaping, I will do it. So this waist shaping is not added to the pattern. I done it myself, and I think I really done a great job. I sent her I sent her notes how I did it, and I put, if they are not already on my Ravelry, so anyone who would like to, you know, try to do some body shaping could have some references how some people done it. So yeah, I felt like knitting the yoke was so interesting. I was so passionate, so I think I knitted yoke in a week, and I was counting that I think there's 7 bubbles, so I was counting that almost for each day. But since, you know, the rounds getting longer, so I have to be a little bit ahead, so I think I was done maybe in 6 days because that was so interesting. And even I was knitting, you're knitting the body from the wrong side, so you're not purling all this body, but you're knitting, and it felt a bit more like a drag. And I guess that just showed to me that I'm a bit that I want more intricate knits, that it is fun to knit more, I know, fun patterns. Even I really love the look and the simple knits, where, I don't know, they're so classy, so nice, and usually I don't mind it. I quite enjoy knitting in stock knit, but it was really fun to knit something more textured and etc. I didn't have any chances to wear it because it's winter time, and, you know, you're testing for future seasons. So it's maybe a bit sad that I didn't wear it. But I can see myself wearing it with like blue jeans. I feel like, you know, these colors give, I don't know, nice contrast, and I don't know. Also, I have skirt in really similar color. And variegation, I felt it was not written in the pattern what to do, you know, since it is for hand-dyed yarn skeins, and it's nowhere written that what I should do. And I'm first time knitting for me with variegating yarn, so I decided, well, I follow the pattern and I will trust the designer and her yarn, because if she doesn't want to color pulling, she maybe include descriptions how to do it. And I think it was really well, and I think that reverse stockinette, like pearls, scatters it way better than the stockinette, because I think like in the stockinette it could be maybe more pulling and it is more scattered in the pearl side, and it is more seen in the knit side. And I feel like maybe when I was doing waist shaping, maybe around this area, it was bit color pulling, but not that much that I would be annoyed. I don't know. I feel like for the yoke and for the bottom that I would totally not do those is it helical knitting, or how it is called when you're knitting one row with one ball and the next row with another ball. But yeah, I felt like it almost didn't need it. And I bought 3 balls and I had almost half ball left. I don't know what to do with that, and I was thinking maybe knit a bit longer sleeves, but then I decided that no. I'm too tired of doing any mental work, so I will just follow the pattern, don't overthink it. And then now I have like scrappy ball of yarn, so if I ever want to do like scrap a blanket or whatever, that would be really fun to use for that. Or I don't know, because for the socks it is 100 wool and not nylon, so I don't know if that would be nice. And I was thinking with maybe navy blue sweater with a little bit color work, and this would be really beautiful contrast. I can think about it. But yeah, that was my first test knit. So when I finished the top, I continued working on my, oh no, lost the stitch. Wait a second. Okay, I think we are back. So when I finished the top, I needed something simple to work on, maybe not requiring that much headspace, because we were in the middle of the moving, and I continued working on my cardigan black. I'm re-knitting this, and because when the first time I knitted this cardigan, the neckline, I didn't enjoy the neckline. It was too wide, so instead of that easy throw on black cardigan, I felt like I need to think, you know, which necklines it works with and which there doesn't work with this cardigan. Then the sleeves were too short, maybe body too short, and I need to reknit this. It just fits totally wrongly, and it was my first ever cardigan. I named it Adya cardigan. I was thinking maybe I will write a pattern, but I needed to just frog it and like reknit it. And then I frogged and I decided to do different. I decided to knit together immediately button band, but it was a new construction, so I failed and I tried again and my gauge changed, and so I was reknitting this yoke maybe 5 times. So I'm so sick and tired of this cardigan, and it is black stockinette. It's really, I think it would be fit with everything and it will be really useful cardigan to have, but at this moment it just drags down. When I'm knitting on this, I feel like it is not as warm, but I feel like it would be really good, but not for the winter time. It is more like late spring, early autumn in Scandinavia cardigan maybe. It's maybe too black for, you know, summer cardigan to be, or, you know, late spring. But at the same time, you know, maybe in the office, you know, where you have to be more official clothes or whatever, the black color knit should, I don't know, look good, look professional. So now I knitted. So I think I was already split 4 sleeves and just 2 rounds, and I finished off the wall. this is how much I have left, but I managed to finish the ball and finished on the like side. So I was so happy with it, and I decided to, you know, pick up and knit sleeves. Actually, I don't know why. I think I was just I didn't want to think about body shaping, because I'm doing some body shaping or like v-neck shaping and etc. So this is why I decided just to knit sleeves, and for the sleeves I actually didn't calculate how I want the sleeves to go. I think, oh, these are bubbles from from my not happy birthday bonbon tea. So this looks maybe, oh, why is so bulky here? But the sleeves are maybe a little bit looser than I wanted, because when I was changing and restarting, I didn't recalculate it, I think, the sleeve count stitches. I recalculated the body stitches, but I started in the same manner, so I had a bit different count for the sleeves, and it was a bit bigger. But at the same time, I feel it is good, because, you know, you wear cardigans on something else, so have a bit more space to put something else, like, you know, like even this birthday bonbon tea. It is nice to have, you know, not be sucked in, that it is not way too fitted. And I still decreased at the rate I was usually decreasing for other knits. I think I was decreasing every 8th row, and I think it gave almost really nice, almost fitted but not too fitted. It is a bit looser, but not too loose sleeve. I think again, maybe professional looking for the office, because I was thinking maybe I should do almost Adam's Family, like really like bat, is it bat? No, bell sleeve, it is like hanging or whatever. And then I saw that it is not the most practical. People were laughing that they put into the food maybe and etc. They cannot, you know, rotate if they're, you know, washing something. And I decided to have really practical first cardigan and not a fun one. So I decided, okay, simple sleeves, just make it like as classical as it gets. So maybe it would get a lot of wear out of it. So now I am finishing the last cuff. So I'm almost done with the sleeves, and I think then I will start my another test knit. And I feel like, yeah, I was unsure when to add the first button, but I already made a buttonhole. I was thinking that it's so can be difficult not to forget the right counts between the buttons, to leave holes in really same distance. Because if I, you know, putting down and picking it up, I would like to knit maybe body in one go, but I already started it. So I am sure, and now I joined a few cords so I can put it on. So I think it will be nice. I think it's quite, for V-neck cardigan, it's quite quite closed off neckline, but I don't in a way understand those not V-neck cardigans, because I feel like those, I don't like to be, you know, those are strange and they are floppy, and this is why I wanted like V-neck for cardigan. I don't know why, but I only want V-necks for my cardigans in the future. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe it's really practical to have something go upper, but I'm imagining this cardigan also. I am planning to knit a top, maybe mock turtleneck or mock neck tops. I think it would be really beautiful too together, maybe to the office too. With this top, it's not the best, but at the same time it might work because I guess if you're cold and you just need something, but now I really see that those bubbles really make it not as maybe nice, but if you're cold it is good. And another thing, I have more than I need yarn because I finished almost all yoke before frogging the sweater, so this before removing time was spending a lot of frogging and putting. At first I do this around my arm, but I understood that I was putting it quite tightly, and then I was, you know, like breaking my arm in a more painful way, so I decided just move around some box. those first cycles, then I also frogged here, then I would tie a few ties, so I would know, and this is the second one tie, so I would know how the circle goes after washing. This is still a wet one. And then, since I don't have, and I didn't have for this one, I don't have neither Swift nor Winder, so I was taking, I think, from the kitchen wooden tool, and then on the end I would just do this by hand. So this was hand wind, but I feel like it was giving really nice on, and it also gives nice shape. Of course, this is now a small ball left. So I have a lot of ones, and I was thinking maybe to do it a bit longer than I would do my sweaters with this cardigan, so it would do totally cozy. And since I don't know and I don't want to use this yarn for anything else, this yarn was for Faulty Badge. This is Drops Cotton Merino, and I got, since I bought it online, and they sent an email, what is your badge number, if it's this one, you will get your money back because it's faulty badge, but they didn't write what was faulty about it. Is it leaking color too much? Maybe it is not super wash enough, I don't know what is faulty about it, and those are my ideas. So I don't want to mix it up with other things, because I was thinking that, having a black yarn for, I don't know, color work or for other things, it could be nice, but then I don't know if I can use it. So yeah, it is quite nice yarn, but since it is 50% cotton, 50% wool, it's not the warmest, so this is why I don't feel like I'm knitting now anything wintry, and I quite need more warm winter sweaters. But in the same time, I'm okay with it. I'm not overthinking it right now, and this is, like using up my stash thing. It's really good. I'm loving it, but as I said, it's a bit boring. But now when I'm wearing it, it will be so nice. The sleeve is quite nice. I decided to do 3x1 ribbing. I don't know if you can see it. And then I had no idea what kind of method to use, so I just used, I think, surprisingly stretchy or whatever, and it looks like pearl row. So I decided to think about it as a design feature. And since this is a black cardigan, I imagine that it is not, those details will not seen as much, and I'm okay with it. I'm totally fine with it. Yeah, it's giving some warm actually when putting it on, and I'm almost done. So my plan is to finish this scuff maybe today, probably today, before continuing on my new cast-ons, because I got accepted into the new test knit, and for Lily Kate France, I think her name, and her maybe Instagram or YouTube handles are Lily Kate Makes. I feel like her, especially some elegant designs, are so beautiful, and now she's releasing again more fitted items. So when I saw those tops, it is, I think, Knitty Committee top. I will add some pictures or more pictures. I will show you how they look like, and I felt like it is my cup of tea, so I applied it, and apparently then I checked that it was 2 hours into applications, because I'm one of the most popular sizes. I am, for her, it's like sort of medium large. My bust is around 104, 3, 2. It depends if I'm measuring and how I'm breathing, how much maybe I eat, or maybe what time of the month I'm measuring. So I decided that I don't care if it is 102, 104 centimeters, it is around that my bust shape is. When I was measuring it, so yeah, I think this is on the medium range, where if YouTubers or not YouTubers, if those designer shows these are the sizes to get the most people interested in testing. And I think she is quite well-defined designer to be picky about her, especially mid-size testers, and she picked me. And she said that she today will send the design. And I needed 26 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I think 37 rows. So I checked that I have in my my stash, Mandarin Petit in color, in sandy color, I don't know the color code. Okay, color code is 3011. This is 100% cotton yarn. It was supposed to be 27 stitches with 3mm needles, but I had the old swatch which was 25 stitches in 10 centimeters, and I started re-swatching. I'm sorry, this is quite damp yet. So I started re-swatching it, and with 3mm needles I was getting way too much, and with blocking, washing it, I understood that I will not get smaller gauge because cotton, I guess, only grows. So I then switched to 2.5mm needles, and I'm really crying because I have the only one pair of non-interchangeable, because my interchangeables doesn't go lower than 3mm, and I got the perfect gauge while it was I was knitting, and now I'm letting it dry and always measuring and trying to put into exact square with my take my ruler and just measuring that it would dry into the exact square, because I would have used some stash yarn, which is always a win. Yeah, so I'm hoping to knit, and I knitted exactly, there's 26 stitches and exactly 37 rows, and they were fitting into this square so nicely, and now I think it's almost perfect. But yeah, I need to let it dry so I would have total finished measurements, so I have to let it dry because it's still damp, but I think it's drying into the correct shape and form. And at first with this yarn I knitted a hat, or I crocheted a hat. I crocheted a hat, and that it was too floppy. Now I'm thinking I may add starch, and maybe that would, you know, save the day. But I didn't know anything. I didn't know about selecting smaller hook size, so to get denser fabric, so denser fabric wouldn't be as floppy. It was really flowy yarn. It's nice cotton yarn. And more expensive, but I was buying only 2 skeins of balls for the hat, so I just I don't care almost how much it cost. And then I decided, okay, this is not a hat, I'm frogging it, I don't want to, you know, like try to knit or recrochet a hat, and I bought more yarn to make a top. Then I designed a top, I started knitting the top, and then I decided that no, that top has way too wide neckline, and I don't like it because I think it was even showing bra straps, and I just it has quite a huge stitch if I needed to go down like size in my stitch pattern stitch count, I needed to really minimize the stitch count, and I was just, oh, would it be too difficult and go through the head and etc. The real small neckline, but that was too wide of my original selection, so I was decided to just frog it and maybe try to reknit this or design something new. And since it was like an old idea 2 years ago, I never picked up to reknit this top, and now that I'm getting the perfect gauge, I think that would be such a nice top. And imagine top in this yarn and cardigan in this one, it would be such a beautiful, like, office appropriate item. I think I applied for puff sleeves, and I was imagining that I will buy a yarn. I was imagining buying a dark green, like foresty green woolly yarn for it, and I was imagining puff sleeves. And with this one I don't imagining puff sleeves that much, but we'll see. And this color might wish me out, but I imagine wearing it with maybe cardigan, and with wearing with cardigan I don't think that puff sleeve would work as well. But I don't know, maybe I was admitted to the test knit only because there were not so many people who wanted to knit puff sleeves, and she wants, I guess, of course, all types of her design to show it on different people and different bodies. And at first I read it deadline. This time I read that it would be there is exact deadline May 14th, because I think May 15th the design will be released, and by that date it's expected to be taking pictures, so we can showcase in all different bodies how the top looks like. It is also that, as a thank you for the designer, it would be that we would select her 2 of her other patterns released. We could pick it up, which is also really nice, because there are some patterns I am looking for years after years and just, ooh, maybe I should knit this, but I never prioritize it. So that would be also a fun thing to prioritize and try it out. And it will be like Slack communication channel open for the test knitters, so finally I would get my knit along, maybe find a few friends knitting. But of course, and I'm thinking about what I would actually, should I write it or not, I don't know if I will be really chatty about it. But why am I holding that wet yarn? So yeah, I have probably not enough yarn, and I was so proud of myself when I found this yarn, because I didn't put it, it was in this my only knitting project bag, which I sewed myself. It is from the same pattern I sewed my first dress ever, so it was really fun, and I think it's really useful and fun. It was fun to make. So yeah. And I put into another box, and then I went to the storage room where all boxes are, and just, okay, I'm ready, because most likely the box I need will be, on the bottom row, and it actually was one of the top ones, and I just opened the box. I've written what is on the box, but I didn't read, each item, but I knew the type of the box it most likely will be, and I was right, and I just opened that box, and it was almost on the top, and just, my organization, my planning, I'm I'm living my life. I know where my yarn is, even in this moving chaos. So yeah, I found it really easily yesterday. So yeah, I gauge swatch, I have the yarn, and I'm really sad that I have only one 2.5 millimeters not interchangeable needle, because first of all, I don't remember which one of this are. Okay, this one. Because I have only one length. So for the body, everything will be more scrunched up, more difficult maybe to try it out, because I also don't have cords. I usually have interchangeable needle set, and I have joints, so I can, unscrew one of the needles, screw the joint, attach another wire, and then maybe reattach the needle. So then, as for this is how I can put it on this one up. It is 2 cords joined for me to tie it on, and the joint is here. So yeah, it's not flexible. I don't know, maybe you cannot see it, but it is, yeah, black cord and a silvery joint. And yeah, I kind of do this with this. And for the sleeves, magic loop, for the neckline, maybe traveling loop or whatever, I can do it. I think I can. Oh, neckline, probably I would go down needle size. But yeah, I didn't got the gauge with 3mm needles, 2.5mm needles. It will take time. And I thought that, oh, I can knit it in a month. But I also started a new job, and I think that our test knit lasts for 2 months. So I should be fine with it. I should be fine. I really hope to succeed, because I really want to be a good test knitter. I didn't apply, to fail. I apply to be useful for the designers, but why I am really pissed off that I have only one pair of these needles, and I'm thinking today to go and run and buy another pair, maybe different length, so it would be more useful, because I also bought these 2 yarns, because when I moved and I had leisure time to walk around, I went to the bookstore and I saw Harry Potter's knitting book, and I flew through it. I just, oh yeah, this is nice, oh yeah, this is, I could almost redesign this and etc, like, Harry Potter Quidditch sweater or like Quidditch socks or whatever, and I just, oh, that is so easy to like do it yourself or whatever. And then I found what I call like really spectacular pair of socks. I will add a picture probably here how it looks like. Marauder snap. So on the cuff you have words, I solemnly swear I am up to no good, which is, you know, the word phrase you used to when you open the map, so it would show the map and not just empty paper. And then on the bottom, how you hide the map, again, it is on the foot bottom, it is mischief managed, I think. And they are so intricate, delicate pair of socks, and I'm just like, oh, I really want them. I want one. And I didn't swatch for them yet, only because I wanted to show you the yarn I picked up. So those socks were designed for some hand-dyed yarn, I guess America, because the price was in dollars, and one ball cost $28, and you need 2 colors, so it would be $56 plus shipping plus import taxes. And I don't want to pay for the pair of socks $100 when I didn't knit socks in 15 years. The last time I knitted socks, it was maybe 3 pairs, and first off, the first pairs I ever knitted in DK weight, they were way too big. Like, they were really baggy, and one was sort of color work, a little bit on the cuff, and etc. Yeah, they weren't, I guess, as good as socks go. They weren't bad, but they weren't really anything special, and I didn't knit socks because I'm more passionate about garments. But then I saw that pair of socks and just, oh, it's just like chef's kiss, like 10 out of 10 design, so intricate, so interesting, so delicate. And the gauge of those socks were, I think, 38 stitches in 10 centimeters, and the yarn was really delicate, and I was not finding though that yarn suitable, because it is more delicate than fine yarn fingering weight. It is, I know, super fine, or, you know, it's not lace weight, but it's getting closer to lace weight than fingering. And I was just, who makes sucky yarn in such cases? Because I checked the online yarn store I really like to buy yarn from, because they cheaper ones, they didn't have anything suitable for this. And I found one yarn, not sock yarn, but other yarn, which is the most delicate one, and I was thinking maybe I should order this. But then, of course, I found the sock Marauder's map socks pattern by, I don't remember, I didn't. I found the designer, I found the socks, because I saw only in Danish instructions and name only in Danish. So I found the designer, I found the socks, I checked what other people knitted, and I think I'm really happy that one person just used Filcolana Arwetta, and actually in those same 2 colors. And I was just, oh, I may find this yarn. So then I googled closest yarn store around my area, and I saw that they have Filcolana yarn. I didn't saw that they have Arwetta, but one of the pictures of yarn store was having Filcolana yarn, and just, oh, maybe, because I never tried this yarn. Even though I hear a lot about Filcolana yarn, I never tried it on. I guess it is more expensive than drop, so I was not trying it on that quickly. But for the socks, and it doesn't cost 100 euros, it costed 100 Danish kroner, which is a bit more than 10 euros. 13 euros maybe? So it is way more decently priced. And I also saw that woman had enough yarn to knit both pair of socks in those 2, and I think it was almost full usage for this one, maybe 90% of this one color, because the cuff and fingers are in this color and this is more contrasty color. But it was enough, which is 50 grams, 110 meters, and that original yarn was 400 something meters and 100 grams. So this should be perfect amount of yarn. And I picked original colors because it is more Gryffindor-ish. And when I done Harry Potter sorting with test, I was in Gryffindor put, and my boyfriend is in Ravenclaw. So maybe if I'm still up to the challenge, I maybe knit a second pair in like navy blue and maybe grayish color. That would be also beautiful combination for the socks. But I didn't tell him that idea because maybe I will be so totally tired out after knitting those 2 socks. And plus, second sock syndrome there exists. So why I want to knit, 4 socks? And I can be totally finished. So this is why I bought only 2 balls of yarn, and I really want to swatch it and try it out and see if I'm getting the right gauge. I think I should knit this sock in 2.75 and 2.25 millimeter needles, but I don't have those millimeter needles, and in the shops I was buying, they have only maybe 2, 2.5 and 3. The yarn seller said maybe I should try to knit with 3mm needles because color work can be more scrunched up, so I totally would fit, but I need 80 stitches for that. 80 stitches. The pattern repeat is so on the medium size and large size it has more. So I don't know, because 38 stitches, I think that designed. This yarn is written for 28, 32 stitches, so it has to be even more scrunched up than regular gauge or whatever. So I'm sure, and if I need 2.5mm needles, I will start top knitting with this, the only pair of 2.5mm needles I own. So this is why I'm thinking maybe I need to go back to the yarn store and buy another pair of, maybe longer, because even for socks I think it would be easier for traveling loop, not traveling magic loop, to have long enough cord in between needles, because with shorter ones it doesn't work as well. So I'm thinking that I need to swatch maybe this needle size to see if I need to buy more this needle size, because I'm so inspired by that sock, and I didn't feel as inspired by anything. As I said, I'm lacking inspiration for my black cardigan, but it's really useful, so I'm trying to keep motivating, thinking about how I will be wearing. But this would be my first sock in 15 years, and I wrote to my friend and she said, yeah, that's really intricate design, but you thrive at picking up difficult project for your first try, because she trained me how to knit, how to sew, and she gave me her old sewing machine, and then I took it, and my first project on my own was to sew a dress, and I drafted and sewed my own pattern for a dress. So she said, yeah, this is how you do it. You pick difficult thing and then you do it. So I felt validated and laughing with my friend. That, yeah, she gets me. In a way, I feel like this looks more purplish than I expected. Yeah, this is, I think it's called burgundy, because, and this was Marzipan? Because now I have only color codes, but that person who put it, it was with color names too. And I think that this will be a beautiful pair of socks. And I really wanted to knit socks again, but in a different way than I was always wearing woolen socks, because in my childhood, etc., my grandmother would knit only DK weight thick woolen socks, and I never saw knitted hand knitted socks in that delicate way, in elegant way. It was always something really thick and bulky and etc., and I felt like, yeah, it's not that elegant and I enjoy more elegant knits and etc. And I have one pair of handmade socks gifted to me, and they also DK weight, and I would like to have more hand knitted socks, I think, but I want them more in fingering weights. I want them to be delicate, more easily to put into the shoes maybe. I don't know if these would ever be put into the shoes. I think I will done the photo shoot and maybe hang on the wall. How fun and delicate they look, but they are so amazing. I really want them. And this is a nice thing, to be inspired. And I believe that it would be a really hyper-focused project where I would totally do it, because it's so interesting, and it also would let me to see if the fit of the sock is really good, because I want to knit. I already bought another yarn to knit my first ever fingering weight socks. I have that yarn, and I wanted to knit a like simple sock pattern just to see what is my perfect fit, just try it out and to see, you know, and have like an example knit, and then for example my boyfriend see if he needs maybe more width, more length for sure, but maybe not more width, you know, on the cuffs. So see all these things, you know, how to make the socks yeah, nicely fitted, but that's supposed to be like, you know, really like test knit, you know, what socks I like, and this was just, I need it. I'm knitting this and it doesn't matter how it turns out. Of course it matters, but I have faith that they would turn out really well. And then last thing I bought was my first time buying this wool comb, because when when I knitted my boyfriend a sweater with Viking yarn, Viking wool, it is, and I also bought myself the same yarn, but I didn't knit anything yet. It was a really beautiful navy color. It was quite soft, almost soft enough for him. I just knitted a neckline, folded neckline into from different yarns because he said that it was a bit scratchy. He said also that a bit scratchy maybe on the hands, and then he wears a t-shirt under his sweaters. But for the hands I was trying to wash it with some conditioner because it was not that itchy, and he started wearing it quite often because he quite liked it. So when I fixed the neckline and it was, you know, soft enough, maybe a wear too, it is not too itchy for him. So I was really happy about it, but that yarn is soft and that yarn filled really quickly, and he wear it when I first gifted to him every single day for maybe 2 weeks, only that sweater, and then now it is in rotation with his older sweater. So maybe he doesn't, you know, yesterday I saw the one girl's post, you know, that she knitted something for her husband, and her husband has just really the most joyful smile on his face, and just, yeah, he really loves it. And maybe my boyfriend doesn't have the same smile, and he really hates taking photos, so I didn't take a photo of him with that sweater. But, you know, how often he puts it on just really shows how much he loves it. So I bought a comb because I felt like it is too shameful to have, you know, such a nice sweater. And I was imagining that it would be like magical comb, like, you know, you just brush and your fabric is perfect. I spent half an hour and I think it looks better. Of course it doesn't have those huge bills, but it still, I think, has potential to create new ones. And I hear that some people say that, you know, by time, you know, depilling and depeeling, the sweater starts pilling less. So we'll see. It's not magical. It requires it requires effort, and it also, yeah, may not solve all issues. And since I moved in Denmark, I really want to try knitting for olive yarn. And they also put those like day tests that they knit with their new yarn. When they thinking about including into their new line, so they had a sample, so they knit a sample sweater and put it on the toddler and send the toddler to do all the toddler things for a few days and see, you know, if it pills or not, because they really heavy users. And then, you know, if there's a lot of pills, they decide that it is not a good quality enough yarn for them to have in their store. Maybe, you know, it can be done differently, and, you know, getting new test samples. And that also makes me think that if they, you know, care about new yarns that much, maybe they care about the old ones too. And, you know, they share that some like old sweater and almost no pills. And I'm just, next time I'm knitting, I want to try, even if I like really budget yarns, but I want to try maybe knitting for olive yarn for my boyfriend, maybe heavy merino, maybe it's called. Pick it up, of course go with them, so he would check for the scratchiness, itchiness, and if he approves the yarn softness, pick that yarn to knit him a sweater. And I feel like I learned after knitting his first 2 sweaters now, so I think that, like, I can make the third one almost the perfect one, because with those first 2 sweaters I never, when he's wearing and it is maybe a bit looser, and I see that, you know, the back looks shorter than the front, maybe he's more, I don't know, scrunches up or whatever. And even if I knit it, you know, totally evenly, just not even short rows, I think in the double view, in different ways I was joined later in the round for the neckline, or split and then knitted. As I think that the first was bottom up and the second was top down. So it has, you know, neckline shaping, and yeah, and the back is not long enough, I feel, for him. So I think I will add in the bottom of his sweaters now a bit short rows to prolong the back. So the front would be, yeah, and I think that would be even better for his sweaters. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!